Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into
Choosing
it.
tires for your car is an important and responsible task for every vehicle owner. When buying tires, the consumer expects good quality, excellent traction, and a long service life. The problem with conventional tires is that if a puncture or cut occurs, it is impossible to continue driving. A spare tire must be fitted or a tow truck must be called. Any further movement on your own is out of the question. But that is how it used to be. Nowadays, it is not a problem to drive on a flat tire, even a few tens of kilometers. For such tasks, there are special tires, which are called run flat. They have certain features, distinctive characteristics, but also have a set of strong and weak qualities. What it is? Not all motorists understand what these are run flat tires and how they differ from classic tires. There are indeed differences between them, which is due to the slightly different design and structure of the product. If we talk about run flat tires, first you need to understand what this designation means. Translate the name can be translated as a flat ride or a ride on flat tires. Now, a lot of manufacturers are trying to include in their assortment at least a few models of tires based on this technology. Therefore, it is not a problem to meet tires with run flat markings from different companies engaged in the production of tires. But it's important to understand not just the translation, but what such tire markings as run flat mean and how major changes have occurred in the tire industry with the advent of such solutions. This is a patented technology based on maximum reinforcement of the sidewalls or side parts of the product. This means that in the event of a puncture or cut, when the tire is deflated, the entire load from the weight of the car is transferred to the sidewalls, previously reinforced by the manufacturer. Thus, the tire makes it possible to get to the service station without replacing or calling a tow truck. The most important thing here is that such an attempt to get to the service or garage is not accompanied by destruction of the wheel disc. If we start from patent data, we can understand in some detail what the rubber called ranfleet is. From this information, it becomes known that with a flat wheel, the car can move at a speed of up to 80 kilometers per hour. At the same time, the maximum distance that the vehicle is able to overcome in this state is 100 kilometers. In addition to the fact that the tires are equipped with reinforced sidewalls, there is also a reinforcement, the shape of which resembles a crescent moon, supplemented by side reinforcements. Currently, tires based on run-flat technology are included in the basic equipment of many premium segment cars. For the small and medium class, this is not yet offered, but there is always the option to purchase the wheels separately. Summing up certain results, we can say that run flat is a technology that is used in the production of tires by different manufacturers. Hence, there are certain differences in markings and designations, depending on the brand to which certain tire models belong. Design and technological features. These tires are characterized by the presence of special inserts or reinforcements, which are located in the lateral parts of the product. There is also a modified frame design and a bead with a different shape. The main rubber is characterized by the use of a special heat-resistant compound. Mostly ranfleets are produced with a low profile and are installed on sports cars or on cars with high dynamics parameters. The sidewalls are reinforced by the presence of inserts, although some companies use crescents, which fulfill the same function as the side inserts. The crescent reinforces the sidewalls and the bottom of the tire. It is important to realize that no one can or wants to disclose the details of production. All companies that use run-flat technology keep the nuances of manufacturing a strict secret. It is almost impossible to find out any details or important details. But sometimes information leaks out, according to which the basis for reinforcing inserts is high-strength polyurethane. At the moment when the tires made by this technology flatten, then initially the driver may not notice it at all and calmly continue driving. The point is that when the tire depressurizes, the entire mass of the vehicle moves to the sidewalls, which allows you to go further, without destroying the disc and the rubber itself. If a similar situation occurs with a conventional tire, the car will immediately begin to pull to the sides, throw in different directions, and to stay on the road surface will be almost impossible in case of a puncture at high speed. It will be necessary to stop, take a jack and spare tire out of the trunk, start express replacement, and only then continue driving. If you have a roll cage, you will only be able to get to the nearest service station. Run flats allow you to drive up to 100 kilometers and travel at 80 kilometers per hour even if the tire is punctured. This is a real breakthrough in the tire industry, as well as a significant contribution to improving road safety. One more important feature should be noted. The fact is that run-flat tires can be installed only under certain conditions. This refers to the presence of a stabilization system in the car, as well as sensors for monitoring the pressure in the tires. These systems monitor the condition and integrity of the rubber. Otherwise, it will be problematic to understand that there is damage and the wheel is flat. Read also, the Dion suspension. Main characteristics and features. The absence of these two systems significantly increases the risks of drivers. After all, they may not recognize the puncture, continue driving at high speed, start to enter the corner, thereby provoking a serious accident. The driver simply loses control of the vehicle and flies off. Therefore, tire engineers make special requirements regarding the mandatory presence in the car stabilization system and tire pressure monitoring sensors. In their absence, it is not recommended to install Run-Flat. Varieties. It is important to note one particular feature. Run-Flat is a designation for tires that allow you to continue driving your car if the tire is flat. This is how they differ from conventional tires. It should not be forgotten that the technology is implemented in 3 different directions at once, among which the load-bearing tires are the most popular, so they are now given the main attention. But to learn about these directions and the differences between them is definitely not superfluous. Bearing. These are the tires considered here, which are characterized by reinforced beads, frame, and sidewalls. When the pressure in the wheel drops, the rubber continues to be held on the disc and allows you to create the desired quality of traction with the road surface. Conventional rubber starts to get very hot when traveling without pressure. To eliminate this disadvantage, manufacturers have provided for the use of a special heat-resistant composition. In addition, special ribs are used in the design, which play in favor of cooling. In parallel, the ribs contribute to increasing the surface area of the tire. Also, such tires are called zero-pressure rubber. A prerequisite for their use is the presence of a directional stability system and wheel pressure control system. Supportive. The least technologically different technology from conventional tires. It is actually ordinary rubber, except that there is an additional elastic ring on the rim. It performs the function of support. When the pressure drops, the car rests on this insert. Self-sealing. Once something like this could only be seen in sci-fi movies. Now they are real tires, inside of which there is a special sealing material. It helps to block small holes caused by punctures. Even when a foreign object flies out, this material tightens the hole, which allows you to continue driving without stopping. Among all these options, it is the load-bearing tires that have gained the most prevalence and popularity. On them focused their attention leading tire makers, which allowed to get an impressive range and diversity in the choice. Manufacturers use different markings. Some designations immediately make it clear that the tire is made with the use of Run-Flat technology, while others have to get this information from additional sources, because the usual motorist designations like ZPS, HRS, or SSR do not tell anything. Markings. When buying a car, some drivers have no idea that they have Run-Flat tires installed. Therefore, it will be natural to tell about how to know and determine the presence of tires on the car, made by a special modern technology. For this purpose, there is a corresponding designation on the tire, and far from always it looks like Run-Flat. It all depends on the specific manufacturer. The most common variants of labeling are the following: SSR. This designation is used by the well-known tire maker Continental on its products with reinforced sidewalls, ZP. A simple and concise name of improved tires with an increased level of safety is used by Michelin, HRS. If you meet such a marking, then you have at your disposal tires with Run-Flat technology from the company Hankook, EMT. Actual variant of marking of one of the world's leading manufacturers of car tires in the person of Goodyear, DSSD. This marking is used in the range of tires with Run-Flat technology from Dunlop. In addition to the main manufacturers, tires with other marking variants are also on sale, namely ZPS, RFT, ROF, run on flat, run flat, flat run, etc. The designations may be different, but it is still based on the same patented technology. Manufacturers use their own additional solutions that allow them to differentiate themselves from their competitors. But no one is going to tell their secrets. Well, in the near future for sure, as long as the technology remains relevant and in demand. Such rubber is becoming more and more widespread. Some car companies sign contracts with leading tire manufacturers to supply and equip their cars with such solutions already in the basic configuration. Relying on the unique capabilities of Ram fleet, it is becoming increasingly common to find premium cars that do not have a spare tire. And this is not an attempt to save space or to force buyers to pay extra for a spare tire. The Ram fleet technology eliminates the need for a spare tire, because on tires with reinforced sidewalls you can just as successfully get on your own to the service station or your garage for further repairs. The only difference is that no additional manipulations are required. Drivers do not have to stop at all. Having received a signal from the systems that control the tires, just slightly change the route that will pass through the service station. Key differences. The new Ram fleet technology, which is used in car rubber, is actively conquering the market. At the same time, motorists doubt what is better to take if the choice is offered to choose between ordinary tires and Ramflet wheels. Here it should be immediately noted that a tire with added elements that allow you to drive without replacement are more expensive. It is this fact is still the key in the matter of choice, since not everyone is ready to spend such money and prefer to save money. Read also what you need a pressure gauge for, types, rules of choice, and use. If not to be repelled by the cost, then it is often fair to call it Ram fleet. That will be the best solution. Such tires will not sag under the weight of the car, and the disc will not begin to collapse, which cannot be said about ordinary rubber. The driver has a choice between self-replacement or calling a tow truck. It is not possible to drive on a flat tire. The use of reinforced sidewalls does not allow Ramflets to jump off the disc and give the opportunity to hold the weight of the vehicle. Thus, the driver can safely at a high enough speed, up to 80 kilometers per hour, to get to the service station and do not worry about the lack of a spare tire. It is not needed here. Considering everything discussed earlier, we can say that the main distinguishing feature is the thickness of the wheel sidewall. It creates the difference and allows you to achieve these features when you get into a difficult situation with a punctured tire. Advantages and disadvantages. To summarize a certain amount of everything previously said, you can find out what strengths and weaknesses characterize the run-flat technology. Many people will be surprised at how much the number of disadvantages differs from the number of advantages that characterize the run-flat tire. But this is a reality that needs to be considered. Having considered the main pros and cons, each of you will be able to draw your own conclusions and decide whether to use such tires on your car, or better to stay true to the classic rubber. Let's start with the positive qualities. Among the advantages, the following points can be emphasized. Mobility. This means that the car can continue moving, even taking into account the presence of a puncture. This is what manufacturers attract potential consumers to their products. Motorists are really attracted by the possibility of getting to their destination or at least to a car service center without stopping. Maintained handling. A puncture of such tires does not significantly affect the handling of the machine. Therefore, the driver does not lose control in the event of a sudden puncture. The technology is designed in such a way that sometimes you may not even notice the damage, as the behavior of the car practically does not change. Additional free space. Those who care about a spacious trunk will appreciate the fact that there is no spare tire. In its place, you can put an additional suitcase, a couple of bags, and other things necessary on the road. But this is where the weighty advantages actually end. It is problematic to single out any other significant pluses. But what is not a problem is finding disadvantages. Minuses of the Ramflet technology are really a lot. It does not make such rubber automatically bad and unsuitable for operation. More and more cars are equipped with such solutions, and consumers themselves are satisfied. But if you have to choose between conventional tires and tires made by Ramflet technology, do not forget to take into account the disadvantages of the latter. A flat tire remains a flat tire. The tire does not magically regain its former characteristics. Therefore, the driver can only move on for a limited time and at a certain speed. Ramfleet wins over a regular tire only in the component of being able to get to the service station on its own without replacement. To perform repair and replacement, it is necessary to use special equipment. This is not available in every car service center. For large cities, to find a suitable service station is not a problem, but in small towns you may not be served. Limited use. Given the conditions under which Ramfleets can be installed on the car, not all models and configurations are allowed to install such tires. This is a conditional disadvantage, but nevertheless it should also be taken into account. The behavior of the car on a bad road. It is not recommended to drive long and fast with a puncture in bad road conditions. The car partially loses controllability, vibrations increase. Repairability. Ramfleet has a very low level of repairability. Only some tires can be repaired after the first puncture. Secondary repair is almost impossible. This is due to the fact that when traveling after a puncture, the process of deformation of the cord begins. And this is the basis of such tires. When it wears out, it is necessary to completely change the rubber. Weight. If compared to classic tires, the Ramfleet is characterized by a high weight. This negatively affects the handling and dynamics in a whole wheel condition. Cost. On average, tires made with this technology are more expensive than standard rubber with similar parameters and characteristics by 15 to 25%. The difference turns out to be impressive for some consumers, which makes them stay loyal to the usual standard wheels. The disadvantages are really weighty and significant for many modern motorists. The world is not yet fully ready for the transition to new generation tires, but gradually the process of adaptation has already begun. Tire manufacturers are recommended to pay special attention to the existing shortcomings, as well as to take measures to eliminate them. Work is already underway, but it takes time. It is difficult to instantly get rid of all the disadvantages, although, according to experts, it is realistic. In parallel, all operating workshops and service stations need to understand that technology does not stand still. The tire industry is developing and modernizing. This requires mandatory compliance with the current changes. That is, service stations should introduce new equipment, learn how to service modern tires, and improve their own experience in working with such products. This approach gives the opportunity to be in demand in the market of services and attract to themselves the owners of modern cars, which stand on tires made by run-flat technology. In conclusion, run-flat tires offer a unique blend of convenience and safety, allowing drivers to continue their journey even after a puncture. Their ability to maintain stability without air pressure is a significant advantage, particularly in emergency situations. However, they also come with drawbacks, such as a harsher ride quality and potentially higher costs. Ultimately, the choice between run-flat tires and traditional tires depends on individual driving needs and preferences. Weighing these differences, advantages, and disadvantages will help you make an informed decision for your vehicle. Thank you for watching, and we hope this video has provided valuable insights into the world of run-flat tires.